Very good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Shri. I'm delighted to be here again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure for us to have you here. And it's a long time since we had you on our show.
Yeah, maybe 6 months.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, good. So it's a good refresher as well for our listeners on some of these topics. So today we are going to cover about real friends. So the first question to you is, what have you seen in your experience as the challenges that kids go through in terms of friendship?
It's a really good question. I've been answering email from kids and teens from around the world for the last 12 years now, and I would have to say the number one issue they come to me with, problems, has to do with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Issues have to do with trust and betrayal in a friendship, friends who were there one day and are gone the next day, jealousy in friendship, competition in friendship. It's very confusing. And as the kids get older, they seem to lack the ability to sort through what's going on, especially when they hit middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It gets very confusing because the school gets bigger, and there's a lot of competition in terms of who the popular kids are and where you're going to go, and then if you have the wrong kind of friends, maybe you will end up losing them, jettisoning them because they're not cool enough so that you could become friends with someone else. And so some bad choices end up hurting feelings.
Very rightly you pointed out that this is kind of like talk of the town, or where you get most of your questions here. So the question here is this: how do we distinguish between friends versus an acquaintance? Maybe that there itself the problem starts. Who's your real friend? I mean, is the person real friend, or is just like, person who goes to school with you, or you meet them in the school playground or after school hours? Who are they?
It's interesting because with things like Facebook, people start collecting friends, but are they really friends, or are they just, as you say, acquaintances? Someone I know, or someone who has sent a request to be friends with me, but I don't even know who this person is. So I think it's very important for parents especially to start giving their children some standards as to what makes a real friend. As far as I can see it, a real friend, and a friendship's a two-way street. A real friend is someone that you can trust, someone who is honest, someone who is respectful, and someone who you can communicate with openly. And I think the other thing is shared values. And this is a two-way street, so if I trust you, Shri, and you don't trust me, there's something wrong in the friendship.
That's right.
So the trust has to go in both directions, the same with the respect and the honesty, the open communication, and the shared values.
Good. And how do we gain that trust, and how do we make that work for us?
Well, it takes time to develop trust between two people. You have to be willing to spend the time. And it's not any different in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship where the kids are really, where they're learning in the friendship, really how to build trust and to treat people respectfully. They'll graduate from the friendship amongst peers in a platonic sense. They'll graduate to romantic relationships. So it's very important that the groundwork gets laid down in friendships as the children are younger, because this is really the basis of what comes later. And time and trust go together. Too often we're willing to say, okay, I just met you, you're my friend. And there has been no time to develop, to actually get to know that person, to understand them, to listen and to talk in a way that opens your heart so that you can get a sense of who this person is, and they get a sense of who you are. It's like a garden. It takes time to grow.
Very rightly, we have to nurture friendship. That's the basic thing, I guess. Okay, now, when we were talking about this earlier, you mentioned about the right way. Is there a right way?
No, there are no two friends who are alike in the world, and so there's no one right way. No one right way, but there are plenty of wrong ways to do a friendship.
Okay.
And, if there is a lack of respect, or if one person on one side of the friendship seems to be doing all the giving, and the other person seems to be doing all the getting, then that's an unbalanced relationship. That's definitely a wrong way to do it. And I think it's really important for parents to be aware of what kind of friendships their children have, so they can offer feedback and guidance if it feels to them as if their child is on the, as they say, the short end of the stick all the time. I want to make plans with my friend. He or she says, sure, on Saturday we can do that. And then on Saturday, 10 minutes before he's supposed to come to my house, he calls and says, sorry, I changed my mind. There's something wrong there. It's not really the disappointment your child has experienced, but you as a parent need to say, well, wait a minute. This has happened before. You can't really count on this person. This person is not reliable. Reliability is a very important element of a friendship. So let's talk about that, parent to child.
It's a very interesting part that you touch right now about parents' role there, because one of the things, my friend used to say, I ask my kid, who's your friends at school? And then guess what? You won't get 15. At least you get like this 4 or 5 you can easily make out. And then you tend to ask them a lot of probing questions to find out, of course, the names, and then you get to know their parents, and then you just can help in the bonding, basically, in some cases.
That's right. And when things go wrong, parents can also help to get a friendship on track. Just because a child makes a mistake and calls up 10 minutes before they were supposed to show and say, I'm sorry, I'm doing something else, that's not necessarily a reason to end the friendship. But it is an opportunity for your child and their friend to talk about what just happened. Because if there's a bump in the road in a friendship, that's normal. If no one acknowledges that there was a bump in the road, and you ended up going a little bit off into the ditch, and you don't do anything about it, chances are pretty good you're going to go deeper in the ditch the next time, because nobody said anything. I guess it was okay with you that I called off our appointment 10 minutes before I was supposed to show up. But if you teach your child, no, that's not okay. I deserve respect in this friendship, and I want you to apologize to me. I want you to make an agreement that it won't happen again. Then we can get the friendship back on track.
Very true. So basically, parents can do a lot of help here in terms of making the moral, right, is there, and of course showing respect to each other. But here's the other thing though. In fact, I used to tell my daughter the same thing, saying, why don't you talk to her? Are you friend with that person? No, I don't. We don't. We just say hi, and that's it. I said, why don't you find out? Because sometimes when I come to know that they have some similar interest, like say music, they listen to, of course, the songs, whether it is Western or the Indian classical, just to give an example. And I see there is a common thread between them where potentially this could evolve into a great friendship, at least from things that they do in common. So parents, in that way, I feel like at least I'll expose them to such things, and then if they get along and if they really their wavelength and frequency matches, they can be great friends. At least they'll have common things to share.
Certainly, and that's something that we can talk about later in terms of if you're looking for new friends, but that common interest, joining a club or an activity, you'll know for sure that everybody who's there has at least one thing in common with you.
Right.
And common interests are a good beginning for a friendship, but you're also right. There needs to be a synchronicity and an appreciation of the other person as well that need to be aligned in order for a friendship to work. And some of that is just magic and chemistry, why you like somebody. You don't always know why you like somebody.
Sure. Thank you.